This is Fortenberry from the Patio. We've got the Arkansas Learns bill. We're going to read through it together, see if we can make heads or tails of it. Y'all sit down and enjoy it.
Welcome to the Patio.
I saw a man rob a bank when I was 10. No, I didn't see the wrong kind. of wish that I would see. I grew up. Thought was living in my head. Figured the life that I was living, I'd be better off dead. I watched the winners together.
Welcome, Pationians. I got a feeling we have a whole lot of new Pationians joining us today. This is Thursday, February always forget the date, February 23rd. This is actually going to be a two-parter. We, as Fortenberry mentioned on the cold intro, said we're going to talk about the Arkansas Learns Act. There's a lot of contention amongst teachers, amongst parents. We have read the bill. We've read the bill, guys. Mm-hmm. We've read the bill, and from what I've seen, but through the media, we have a slightly different take on some of it. But before we get into that, let's go around the room and see who we got over here. Who we got over here by the hall go?
All right. First of all, this is Hago for if we got new listeners, well, I guess watchers. Listeners aren't
viewers.
Listeners aren't going to see Hago. Look, I've got a whole bottle of Four Roses. This bill's hefty. What was it?
144 pages.
144 pages.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. And so we did a few toots and we sat up all night and we read this thing.
A few toots.
Two toots.
Gary, tell everybody who you is.
I am Gary. I'm here on the patio. I'm currently unemployed. But on the patio.
That's the best place to be.
But
where would you rather be when you're unemployed?
Nowhere else.
The
beach.
Would you like to be homeless?
But I have chosen to be unemployed. I'm an entrepreneur now.
And you are a YouTube personality.
Yes, and now I just report to my wife for everything.
Yeah.
You did that before you quit working.
DW, tell the world who you might be, my friend.
I'm also unemployed. Apparently no one here works but Jamie and T.
Yeah.
But we don't work hard, so it don't count.
Unemployed. I'm also
an
entrepreneur, kind of. Contractor, whatever. So I'm employed at different times during the year.
I am T. Welcome all you Pationians. I'm the hardest working man in the room, apparently, because nobody else does anything.
Tell me you're an engineer.
That's what
Terry.
they said. Engineer by day.
Yeah, he's a trained engineer.
Pimp daddy by
podcast, YouTube personality, pimp daddy by night, I guess is the right term. But we are here. First, I need you to go back out, hit the like button, go like us, go follow us on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on Spotify or podcast, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, go follow, subscribe. We are growing. We're trying to get better. We're getting information out to you guys. But before we get into this bill, let's hit some headlines. There's some important headlines that have taken place this week. Mm-hmm. We talked about on Tuesday, Jamie's favorite president, former Vice President Joe Biden, was in the Ukraine. He then left the Ukraine, went to Poland, where he then stumbled up the stairs of Air Force One.
Okay, I was going to say, because I thought he fell down Air Force One, too. Maybe he went up and not down.
He stumbles. Oh, he did go down, didn't he? Oh, sorry. I got that wrong. He stumbled down.
I want to see him ride a bike down the steps of Air Force One.
No, he stumbled up the stairs. It was he stumbled up them again. That's what I thought.
Y'all sure he didn't get hit by like a sniper and just fell over?
Well, I got a feeling if you find the video, you're going to hear that sniper sound.
They just replaced him with another body double. They were like, crap.
Yeah, the third Biden body double.
Dang it.
Yeah. So we've got the train derailment in Ohio, and apparently the Washington elite would rather go to Ukraine than go check on our people in Ohio. But President Trump.
Did y'all hear that the EPA, now that Trump said he's going, the EPA's decided they're going to go too?
Oh my! Biden actually called today too to tell him he cared. He called to tell him how much they care
about you.
I mean, that's like if your dad called like 3 days after your birthday and said, "Hey, happy birthday, son."
Or if your dad got you a unicycle for Christmas. If y'all hadn't heard that episode, go listen to the Christmas episode.
It's kind of like Tupac saying you are appreciated. Hey, so on that little train note, I got a buddy that's in a lot of the sports groups I'm in. And he is from that area, has family from that area, so he went back and he's been posting pictures of the water, like videos of the water. I have to show them to y'all later. I forgot. I meant to send them earlier.
Does it look delicious?
It looks
oily.
Very oily.
We got a.
So this is tap water. which is wild.
And also,
yes.
Along those same lines, a supermarket chain pulled bottled water manufactured at a plant outside of East Palestine just out of abundance of caution.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
Don't blame them. A couple more stories we're going to hit on. I'm going to hit the conspiracy theory button. So they have ruled the death of a Clinton aide who happens to be linked to Epstein. They've linked his he was hung with gunshot wounds, but they ruled it a suicide in the state of Arkansas.
How did he get hung with gunshot
Tied
wounds?
to a tree with an electrical cord around his neck, and they ruled it a suicide.
That's kinky. That's a kinky suicide.
I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know if y'all have ever actually looked into this, and I hope I don't get suicided for saying it.
It'll happen.
I think there's been like 47, there's almost 50 people they know that have committed suicide. Now, granted, they know more people than I do.
Maybe they're just very depressing people.
So, I mean,
must be. You don't hang out with those guys.
They need some patio. They need some Pationians in their life.
No, they don't, because I'm not want to kill myself.
You want to come to our party? No thanks.
No,
yeah, I'm good now.
I don't want to be sad today.
Another story. Actually, Gary mentioned this before we went on air. A detransitioned woman who had her breast and uterus removed when she thought she was a man during mental health crisis sues 8 healthcare workers who helped her change. So she's decided that she should have received mental help for a crisis she was in, and instead she was butchered and transitioned.
They were just making money.
I can't disagree with her.
Well,
I mean, I would love to. I'd love to say it's your choice. Deal with it, but
it was her choice. She's partially at fault.
She is partially at fault, but you rely on medical professionals to help.
It's kind of crazy because they're getting sued for doing it when they could have gotten sued for not doing it, probably too.
True.
Good point.
Which
That's
is kind
probably
of
true
wild.
of anything today.
So it's like a weird double-edged thing going on.
Another stat that just came out: 1 in 5 Gen Zers now identifies LGBT, which is 7 times the share of the baby boomers.
We're about 8 generations from
What is a Gen Z?
Like
technically, what?
I think it's 20 or 2000.
Let's see.
Was like 20
to 23.
No, I think it's it's I believe it's
We
I
got
think
3 years of Gen Zers.
because technically we're all millennials.
We're millennials.
I'm actually considered a zennial.
Gen Z is 1997. The year they were born was 1997.
They call early
to
millennials
2012.
zennials.
Yeah.
To part Gen X and
we're millennials.
Another story. Biden. He left the Ukraine. Went and met with officials in Poland, Hungary, who is part of this group of 9. Decided not to show up, and really upset everybody when he said that Trump was the only one that could possibly end this war.
Trump? How?
That's what
Trump.
he said. Hungary's
How?
far right prime minister, because I guess it says in here that this prime minister feels
I don't
that
think it ever would have started.
I don't
that
know.
people would have more respect for him than that.
Well, yeah.
Look, I don't know what your list looks like, but you talking about? Are you going to mention the nuclear treaty?
Yeah, that's on my list.
This was it.
But we can get into it now.
I guess we can.
Putin suspended the last nuclear treaty deal that he had with the U.S., meaning that he can theoretically make as many nuclear weapons as he wants.
He's probably not doing it anyways.
Yeah.
Well, look, to be real honest,
I mean, who's going into Russia and checking right now?
well, that was.
Well, I think they may have still been doing that.
That was his thing. He said, "Why am I going to allow people who are funding the people I'm fighting to come in?"
He's got a point.
Yeah. I mean,
I wouldn't.
No.
This next story, and it's going to be quick, but this is the type of thing I know Fortenberry responds to. Food rationing hits the UK. Multiple grocery stores now restricting sale of fruits and vegetables due to shortages. It's coming, guys.
Yeah.
It's coming. That's going to be what causes war, is when people can't get food.
Hunger.
Food is as abundant now as it's ever been in our history. And if people are starving, it's only because of the bureaucracy. And
let's be real honest. We live in a society that thinks, I haven't eaten today, I'm starving.
Oh, my
that's far
today,
yeah.
I feel like if I hadn't eaten this hour, I may be starving.
How
Look
often
at me.
are you in the car with your kids, and they don't literally mean they're starving, but they're, I'm starving to death.
You stop.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Dude, I'll eat lunch and like 2 hours later, I'm like, boy, I go for a snack.
Yeah. They got to eat every hour on the hour almost.
Another story that people should be worried about. Attacks on the power grid up 71%. And whether they're politically motivated or ideologically motivated, attacks are growing. And it's probably because of the media. Because the media continues to tell us if there's a big hit on our power grid, we're going to be in big, big, big trouble. So folks go, hey, I'll just go out here and blow up a transformer. knock everybody's lights out. That joker will be upset about that.
That ain't the same.
I wonder if that's where the term "knock your lights out" came from.
Knock your lights out.
Could be. Now this is an important story, and it comes to us from Daily Caller. We touched on it. I don't think we ever got into details. It actually.
Oh God!
Oh geez.
Wes brought it up. Actually, see, you talked about suicide in people, and it made me start coughing. See, they've got to me already. But the Supreme Court's hearing cases that could decide the fate of the internet.
You need some cough medicine?
No, I'm good.
I think Gary gave a sympathetic call.
On Tuesday, the Supreme Court heard oral arguments in Gonzalez versus Google, a case filed against Google by the family American student killed in 2015 ISIS attacks, which alleged that YouTube aided and abetted the attack by allowing its algorithm to recommend ISIS videos. So are they saying that their son got turned on to ISIS due to YouTube?
Basically, yeah.
So YouTube will let ISIS, but we can't talk about COVID on YouTube?
Yes, you're right.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's
Well, I mean, you're fully aware that they allow terrorist organizations to be on Twitter, but our president.
I mean, where does personal response? Like, you can watch videos all day and see different stuff, but it doesn't mean it's going to completely flip your ideology on something, right?
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I found crazy? I think the government or somebody was getting onto some Twitter execs or whatever for banning doctors for putting ideas or what they thought was happening with COVID on Twitter or YouTube, and they got banned from there. How can they ban them? They're not doctors who's banning these doctors who's giving it, their general idea of what's going on with COVID.
Certain
That's
places
crazy.
in the United States may be better off if something did happen to the power grid. I'm not saying everywhere. I'm talking about certain already kind of rural places. They'd be just fine.
Oh, yeah.
Growing their own vegetables, got their own meat. They'd be fine.
Well, that's where we may all end up if that EMP and that balloon makes its way over here. Federal employees say that forcing them back into the office endangers the planet.
Do what?
What? I don't understand.
By sending them back
That's
to work,
why
they
me
have
and
to
Gary ain't
drive
going
to
to
work, and it's going to cause more pollution to endanger the planet. Here's another stat for you. Suspects released on $0 bail were much more likely to be rearrested.
What? That's insane.
You should, Gary. You look really.
Oh my gosh!
I'm
I'm surprised. Hold on, let me wipe my eyes. Hold on.
Who was getting released on $0 bill?
Everybody,
Illinois
everybody in the blue states.
Talking about just where you get a citation, you get cited out, basically.
No,
a felony.
No, a felony.
A felony. You could shoot and kill somebody.
Bail.
Of course, you're a felon. You've done something felonious.
Yeah, but that's been going on now for a long time, especially in the big blue cities.
I don't even know if that's a word.
In more news, it's not. Water's wet. That's going to be the next news statement.
Should be. Felonious.
Yeah. All right. Y'all ready to get into the nuts and bolts of this?
I was going to say the meat and taters.
That's going to be the first patio T-shirt. It's going to say felonious across.
Felonious.
I was going to say nuts and bolts.
It could do that too.
Yeah, meat and taters.
The both.
Franks and beans.
All right. So we've done a lot of reading and research on this bill. Okay.
Well, can I say I'm proud of us? We've actually researched this.
We've actually read something.
Terry said, okay.
Okay.
Maybe watch the South Park.
Actually, I did watch that episode the other night.
I have not watched it yet.
It wasn't that great. It was all right.
That's my fault. I haven't watched it yet.
It was okay. It served its purpose.
Okay.
So let's talk about it. You're gonna want to listen next Tuesday. We're gonna get more of the Raises Act, as we're gonna talk specifically about what's in that bill. It's actually a much shorter bill, but this Arkansas Learns Act. It's 144 pages. We have it right here in front of us. It's a proposed amendment to the education law in Arkansas that includes lots of changes related to teacher employment contracts, reduction in force plans, Arkansas travel and teacher program, safety audits, requires public school districts to submit their reduction in force plans to the Division of Elementary and Secondary Education. We're going to delve into all of that. They're talking about, a lot of people are calling it school vouchers. I wouldn't necessarily call it school vouchers. They've got built in there what it's going to take to receive those vouchers. And let's just delve into it a little bit at a time here.
Start us off here, MC.
All right. So initially, the bill talks about the safety of our kids. So we're having school shootings all over the U.S. They want each school to develop a security plan.
Yep.
That's audited. Was it every 3 years, I believe?
I think it's every 3 years.
Every 3 years that it must be audited. The resource teachers need to be trained on school or student mental health. Yep. I think there's already something in place for that, but they want to be extended.
A resource teacher is that a SPEDS teacher?
A what?
When I read it,
No,
I
a resource,
felt like,
a resource officer.
Resource
Officer.
Okay.
yeah,
Resource officer.
when it was kind of like an extra step from your counselor, your special ed types.
Yeah.
And one more buffer. That's what I.
Well, actually, it's the police.
Right?
It's the police.
Yeah, it's the police,
Yeah.
but
It's police
it's
guys.
one more buffer that's supposed to help with.
Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not
seeing those
I love
signs.
that because these kids,
I think it's
most
great.
of them love the resource
do.
officer.
So
And they'll
there,
come talk to those people when they put cool guys in there that really like to be around the
Yep.
kids.
and those are the ones that hopefully, when the gunman shows up at the door, that's going to take them out.
Yep.
And do so as the best they're capable of. Another thing that's early on in the document is, and I've got to look and see what it was called. I don't have that part in front of me, but it allows a student, if you don't have a class at the school you're attending, you can go take the class somewhere else, and the Department of Education or the school has to pay for that. So a portion of the bill that and I forget what it's called. It's listed in there. I'll try to find it in a second. But if you're going to a public school or even a homeschool, but primarily a public school, and there's no classes offered, I think that already existed, that it allows you to take the classes either online or from another course, from a community college, and they'll give it to you. There's also built into the bill the Indoctrination Act, which basically prevents the inclusion of critical race theory and some other controversial
and
items
and sexual stuff until 5th grade or something
until
like
at
that.
least
5th grade.
So no sex education.
No sex education to like 5th grade.
And then it probably restricts. I would
Yeah, I'm
imagine
sure,
it restricts what can and can't be taught.
There's also repeal, and through this 144 pages, there's actually a lot of lines drawn through things.
There is.
They actually repeal the section specifically about the raise schedule, which we'll talk about that in the
Which is
Raise
pretty
Act.
crappy already. So
There's also money set aside for the Arkansas High Impact Tutoring Pilot Program. Did you guys read about that?
Is that the Right to Read Act?
No, it's the high impact tutor. So if someone's not meeting,
If someone's struggling,
not meeting their reading. So like if a 3rd grader is not meeting their,
it's called the Right to Read Act. Yeah,
essentially, but
no, this one's actually specifically Arkansas High Impact Tutoring.
Well, you can
so
get
the K through 3rd grade. Is
It's
that
a K through-
Oh,
No,
that's
this
a different one.
That's different. That's totally different.
okay.
Yeah.
You can get funding for tutoring, right?
you get funding.
Yes.
And it's got-
Even if you choose to go to a private school with your allotment or whatever you want to call it.
That's totally independent of this. This has
It's
nothing to do with that.
it's for
completely
everybody.
different.
Let's stay on point. This is specifically about the tutoring, hiring or contracting for tutors or providing stipends for other incentives to paraprofessionals, retired teachers, community organization to ensure maximum tutoring capacity. So what this says is you don't have to be certified tutor. That will help pay for tutoring. I don't think it really states in here that it's a child or a teenager, but I'm sure they could probably be included.
So this isn't the one that gets $500 allowance and all that?
It doesn't state it as such. No.
Okay.
Yeah, each public district, they're actually promoting school districts to have charter schools.
Yep.
The bill is really promoting charter school. I don't know how you guys feel about charter school. Well,
Explain-
you probably had much.
Explain what a
exposure to
charter
it.
school
Yeah.
is. I'm not really sure.
It's a charter school it's a specialized school, they say. So they each have a base curriculum, but one may be
So,
focused on
for
something
example,
else.
Marion has
They go to
math
like
and science.
they have math, and then they have like science, and then they got like
got you.
arts
Okay.
and whatever is what it is. But from my understanding, they went to limit to how many you could have in a state to now it's unlimited. You can have however many you want.
Yeah, so Donnie, this does clarify it. It said this talks about the high impact tutoring program. It's only for public schools and public charter schools shall submit a plan for administration of the Arkansas High Impact Tutoring Pilot Program in the public school district or open enrollment public charter school. So the charter school, they continue to define. There's probably something listed here, or in another bill where they really define the charter schools.
All right. Then.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, so far I haven't heard anything that I've disagreed with.
No, nothing I've disagreed
No,
with.
nothing
No.
horrible.
Oh, the item I was talking about earlier, the course choice program is listed here, and that's where it allows you to provide a course provider. If you're not, if the school doesn't offer the course that you need or that you want to take.
So what? I wonder what kind of classes would a school not provide that
Oh,
other ones do?
so let's see, Marion. When I went to school there, they had like AP statistics. I could take AP statistics at Marion, but I bet you somewhere like
body.
I make
Okay, well, the trades is exactly what I was thinking.
There's something in here too about
there is.
trades.
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, because I mean, maybe not every school has a shop.
not a
course, and
shop
maybe not
or
every school
but
has-
And that right there,
Well, but there's inside this bill also that we keep that a lot of people I've not seen listed anywhere. It's a they call it. I'll have to find exact words. I made some notes, but career path. That's what they call it. Career path.
And from my understanding, it's for like 6th to 8th grade when they really start hitting on that. They have to do that.
Yeah, Marion has that now because Annabelle has to do different career path. Like she had to go to an interview.
Yeah.
It's pass or fail. I mean,
and you visit certain places.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
She despises the course, but what kid's not going to?
Well, I mean,
so this is referred to here as the high school career ready pathways to diploma.
Mm-hmm.
And so beginning with the 9th grade class of 24-25, a public high school student shall have the option to earn a high school diploma through a career ready pathway, which means you're not going to college.
Correct.
Yeah.
That would mean you're not going to college. And no, I don't think, especially today, everyone should go to college. There are many jobs out there that will pay better or have a more promising career.
They feed the lie that college graduates make $1 million more over a lifetime, and I don't think that's accurate.
I think that's an old statistic.
I think so too.
Because I mean, look at it right now. Can someone go through high school in this career path and learn to be a welder?
You can go become a welder, HVAC, electrician.
You can make
You
bank.
can go find jobs, make tons of money. Right out of school.
Plumber. Do you have to go to college to be a plumber?
Look, you have to go take courses, but you don't have to go to college.
My wife tells her students all the time that I make double what she does with zero education.
You're smart, Jamie, though.
It also promotes early exposure to career-ready pathways to prepare students for choosing a career option at the high school level in grades 6 through 8.
6 through 8.
Each public school district shall incorporate career awareness and exploration activities such as field trips, guest speakers, community services, dedicated curricula, and other activities designed to introduce students to occupations that are found to be in demand in Arkansas. So there's a lot of negative publicity about this bill. And we're going to continue to talk through it, but this is probably the third, maybe even fourth time I've read through it. I don't understand the negative connotation.
I think people struggle with change.
I do. I know the negative connotation, but I'll wait till the end.
Okay.
I'd like to hear it now and see if we agree
with
you.
Don't tell you,
common man.
All right, I'll tell you what it is. It's because this changes the school system from socialism to capitalism.
How is the school system socialism right now?
Essentially, it doesn't really matter. Everybody gives your money. It goes to one place. It's just based on population is all it is. Right now, it's based on attendance and population, and that's it. That's what the school is based on, how much money they get.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are scared schools will suffer when they're really not.
They're not. It's going to create competition is what it's going to do.
But as a parent, or actually in any, we talked about being entrepreneurs. We talked about being early on for you guys that don't know us. By the way, go hit the like button.
Like us.
But we talked about competition. Why is there not the only competition we really have we do have the ability to move our kids to a different public school. Okay, that's a school choice program. But what's the problem with having competition to have the best possible education you can have for your kids?
Well, when you have a system set up for 100 years, people don't like change.
Yeah, I'm not sure this is the 100-year system that's here. I think
but as far as going to your local school, it is. I mean, that's just always been the norm. And
you get certain subjects, and that's basically what's been taught.
That's what it is.
It's changed over the last probably 10, 15 years, but back in the day, you used to go learn exactly certain subjects.
I think a lot of the conversation we're going to have that we really want to talk about is going to happen when you get into the voucher system.
Yeah. So this career ready pathway is probably the last I'll touch on it. Is they state in here that the reason why do you need it, right? To ensure that a career ready pathway to a diploma adequately prepares public school students for high wage, high growth opportunities within the state. Well, the Arkansas Workforce Development Board is in consultation with the Department of Education. They want to continue to monitor this. I'm going to tell you a stat that most of you, I think I've mentioned it here before. In the state of Arkansas, there's a big gap. So from the age of 18 to 26, kids that go to college, they were introduced to the workforce 23 to 26 years old. But those that don't go to college, they don't really do anything. What they find is that at 26-ish, they start trying to find a job. They have no experience. But they realize, I need money and I'm grown now, where then they have trouble getting jobs. They've literally done nothing for almost 8 years, but really continue to be a kid.
I think introducing them to the workforce and getting them into a trade's a great thing because college isn't made for everybody.
No,
but I mean, it doesn't also mean that college is obsolete because it's not. If you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, you want to be something where it does require more education, then college is still an option for you.
Yes.
And it could be an option later on.
As somebody that I'm the only tradesman here. You two both have worked with me before in the trades.
We have.
But I'm the only actual tradesman we have in the group. And we have a serious lack of young kids coming up that want to get in the business.
Why do you think that is?
Because we have, I'm not going to say an entire generation, we have a half a generation of instilling in kids you have to go to college. You have to go to college.
It's a stigma placed on working with your hands.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's
it is.
Incorrect.
And you know what? I know people right now who are tradesmen who are making.
Most of the people I know that are the most wealthy do something with their hands.
I mean, I know people that have made $250,000 working with their hands.
Yeah. Gary, you had a daughter graduate high school last year. Did she have community service requirements for graduation?
No, she did not.
Starting in 2026, 2027, a public high school student must complete 75 clock hours of documented community service.
I don't hate that one either.
Through 12.
Initially, I didn't like it. Initially,
I'm the same way.
I said, you know what? I don't like this because this is just getting free work.
But you know what,
kids. But
learn to take care of the community around you.
That's true, and also some of these kids that, especially rich kids, or even
that's a good point. Yeah,
that don't do anything, may actually get a little glimpse of the workforce of what it's like to have to work for 75 community hours.
Jamie,
I don't really like it.
I know,
just because I feel like in most places it'll become a hum-ho.
It probably will.
There's always ways to work around the program, but I think it's okay to give back to the community, or at least have that perception. Jamie, this one I think's in for you when you have your next child.
You better stop right there.
Maternity leave has expanded to 12 weeks.
That's awesome.
Does it cover male teachers too?
No.
Now, them I think it said sons of bitches.
I think it said
boy.
But men can have babies, so maybe it does.
Did it say paternity
12 weeks,
or maternity?
What's it?
Maternity.
Maternity. Okay.
So that's 12 weeks is great.
Quarter of the year.
You know what? Somehow my wife.
Go ahead.
Yeah, when Millie was born, I mean, she missed the entire semester.
Yeah. So I mean, you're talking about most of the school year.
Section 617.123 sets a superintendent performance target, meaning each local school district board of directors shall establish a part of the superintendent's contract employment written performance targets. I don't have a problem with that.
I love it. I just wish I don't think it states that we get to see the results of those targets.
Well, but I bet it's public knowledge because each school is going to be, we'll talk about a little bit later, but they're going to be required to present reports. That's how this whole program works, is there's going to be reports each year.
They are.
Much like the rest of the world has to do.
Yep.
Also, our friend Meredith Hill would have been in trouble with this because there's a new mandatory reporting of disqualifying offenses is amended to read as follows. The superintendent of each school district shall report to the state board the name of any person holding a license issued by the state board currently employed or employed during the 2 previous school years if they have pled guilty or nolo contenders to or has been found guilty of felony or any misdemeanor.
Well, that would affect her.
That's why she hasn't been found guilty or. Well,
there's something else about a whistleblower section in here too.
Of that any misdemeanor? Any misdemeanor?
Yep. Now, it doesn't mean you lose your job, but they want to keep it on record.
They at least want to know what's going on with you.
Now, there is later that each school has to set up like a hotline that someone can call and report somebody doing something wrong.
So the schools,
I have mixed feelings about those.
It's called 1-800 call the patio. We'll go over it with you.
The schools not renew background checks every year. They just do it once when you're hired, and they don't do another background check.
I don't know if they do it when you're hired.
I would sure hope they do, but I doubt it.
Yeah. I mean, even at most jobs, I mean, Terry, how many background checks have you gone through since you've been hired?
One. 25 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I do one. We do one all the time.
What?
You do
Yeah, it makes sense though. It does because
I mean, like I just worked on a
because you have to get clearance for certain things.
You probably did a drug test too, or something like that, or very
on occasion.
Yeah. Oh, so Jamie got a clearance. He got a low level military clearance.
At one time, I could get on.
But that's because he works for a company that goes to other companies to work. That's why.
Dude, like one of the hardest places I ever got on to was FedEx. I had to get an FAA clearance.
Do you know that's the short? Well, no, it wasn't FedEx. It was Roadway Express. I worked at probably 35 years ago. That was the shortest job I ever had. It was literally 5 hours of being in the back of a truck. You couldn't have a watch. You didn't know what time it was. These packages are flying at you. I was loading packages in Memphis on this truck going to Anaheim. And I look up the chute, and it's backed up. It's almost like the I Love Lucy episode where they're catching the chocolate.
Yeah.
And I looked up. A buddy of mine was working in a trailer around on the other side. So I get out of this trailer, and I go over there. I drove. I said, dude, I quit. I'm going to go wait in the truck. I look in, there's 3 folks loading his trailer. He got all kind of help. I'm over here, packages flying at me. Those packages may still be sitting there for all I know, and I really don't care. But he said, nah, we come together, we lead together. So we both quit. We rode around Memphis at 3 a.m.
I love how you reacted with packages coming at your face.
They were flying, man, everywhere. But anyway, so this is the part Jamie was trying to want us to, he really wanted us to read about earlier, but the Right to Read Act. Jamie, do you have some input on the Right to Read Act?
No, I thought that's where we was going with that. I love this. This is from what we've seen on. If you go read or listen to some of our previous stories, where was it at? Baltimore kids can't read.
Literacy rates. It's Baltimore.
I mean, kids can't read, and now I'm not saying
they need to read though.
I'm not saying here, but this Right to Read Act is a very, very good.
So tool. The Right to Read Act.
I think y'all would be surprised how many adults can't read.
No,
I can't. I can't stand to read, but I'm not
because I've seen it. But yeah, it's crazy.
So this act says is meant to ensure that every kindergartner through grade 3, K-3 teacher in a public school earning a D or F rating under this other bill or state board rules or lower performing public school based on results of public schools kindergarten through grade 3. Literacy screener required by the oh my, there's a lot of words here.
There's a lot of words.
Basically, you got. I'm gonna summarize.
Yeah, summarize it.
Basically, before you're allowed to go to the 4th grade, you must prove that you can read at 3rd grade level.
Well, yes,
I think this is great.
Well,
absolutely.
Well, you know what? I got a personal story here. My son. That's why we pulled my son out of public schools.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
That's why we pulled my son out of public schools because he was making essentially a D in reading, was ace in math and everything, but was making a D in reading and spelling. He couldn't read.
Is he a little dyslexic or anything?
No. They said he had a little bit of ADHD. A little bit of ADHD.
Shit,
I think everybody's got that. So
I mean, ADDs.
Jamie's house, man. He might as well have ADHs and Ds all over.
And their answer was to put him in a cubicle and leave him there, and he'd figure it out because he'd get nervous. But you know what happened? We pulled him out of the school, public school. Took him to a private school, held him back 1 year.
We got more attention.
Within 9 weeks, he could read. He was reading like Greek mythology within like 9 weeks after.
No, he would.
Yes, he was.
He probably
I'm not reading Greek mythology.
He was reading Homer.
He probably got a lot more one-on-one attention.
He did. I shout out to Mrs. Ford if she listens to us.
I love Miss Ford.
Miss Ford, she's a great teacher.
She should be. And I'll send her a text and tell her she needs to listen.
And she saved my son.
She's a hell of a teacher, dude.
Yeah, she's a good person.
She's a good person, good teacher, and everything. She helped him, but that's why we pulled my son out of school because they were just going to push him forward. Oh, he's fine.
No kid left behind.
Exactly. I mean,
which means the complete opposite.
Yeah.
So along with the Right to Read Act, which everyone across the country needs that, the United States Department of Education should have that. And look, it's not condemning the teacher per se at all.
No,
when you have that a student needs more work.
So many of these classrooms, they overload the teachers with 30, 35 kids. Yeah. And you can't expect a teacher.
Check this one.
No.
Or there's a lot of things you can't do 35 to 1.
Yeah. Nope.
For the 2023 to 24 year. So that's this year. Each public school district needs to develop a math intervention plan for each student grades 3 through 8 who is not performing at or above grade level. I mean, it's not saying, that it's just saying that they've got to have a way of helping these kids. There's no parent that should be upset by this.
Nope.
And the thing is, the parents that are active in their children's education, I think all of us in the room are to an extent. It's typically my wife pushing, but we don't have to worry about something like this. But the kids that we talked about here a couple weeks ago, whose parents aren't active in it, this is what they need. This helps those kids more than it helps anybody else. And
this falls into the Right to Read Act too. They give $500 allowance for tutors. And this falls into the math one too. And
that must have been
this.
What I saw.
That must have been what you were talking about. Yeah.
My wife is a math teacher, so like this right, she's a high school math teacher now. But this will be such a huge help for her to get kids out there that are up to speed.
Yeah.
So there's several things in this that are repealed. This one here that's repealed next there was an incentive for teacher recruitment and detention and retention in high priority districts, which I guess are districts that have problems. They've struck all that out. It's been removed.
Struck it out.
Yeah. This is another. Now this is controversial, and it doesn't really replace it with anything. But the Teacher Fair Dismissal Act of 1983 has also been removed. Jamie,
I've got. So I'll explain that.
The Dismissal Act.
And this is something my wife brought to me, and my initial reaction was, well, great. I mean, that means they can get rid of teachers that aren't performing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But the way it was explained to me too is, here's exactly how my wife explained it. She's a math teacher. The school she works at could go hire a coach, and the coach says, look, my wife's a math teacher. I'm not coming unless
she comes with me.
And they say, okay, well, Fortenberry's wife, you can hit the bricks, and we're going to bring this lady in to teach math because we want this coach. And I'm torn on it because it helps eliminate teachers that don't need to be there, but it also eliminates a protection that the teachers have from getting pushed around by the districts.
Yeah.
Well, but there's other means of not that happening either. That's litigation, and that's of any workforce. Because Arkansas is a right to work state, and theoretically, but they still will lose if they were to do something of that nature, and you'd have to prove it in a court of law. If you prove it in the court of law, yes. If you prove that,
especially if our performance ratings are better than the new teachers,
exactly. Yeah, there's arbitration. Easy. There's arbitration that go through. Anybody let go can challenge and go through arbitration and end up in litigation in the state of Arkansas, even in a right to work state.
Yeah,
the Arkansas Labor Relations Board is pretty heavily involved.
I don't want anything that puts teachers at risk. Good teachers that puts good teachers at risk.
Well, what about bad teachers? Why are they protected?
Yeah, bad teachers shouldn't be.
So I mean, that's the problem. I mean, we can't. I mean, do we expose good teachers to being fired for no reason just to get rid of bad teachers?
I'm asking y'all. But what we do is we put faith in the people running our districts that they want to keep the good teachers.
Yeah.
It's any job.
I mean,
every job.
Anybody you hire, any job, that's
every job you've ever had, you've had people. I mean, it's part of the reason I left my job. I was making the same as a guy who can't write a report, but they expect me to check the reports and do all the different things about it. No hate to them. We make the same thing. And they're like, well, he's been here forever. Okay. I'm like 4 times as productive as him.
Can it happen? Sure, it can happen, but any of it can happen. But,
it happens everywhere.
It happens everywhere. And I'm not sure why the teacher should be treated any differently. I really don't. I think it's.
Well, they already have mechanisms, though, to get rid of teachers that aren't performing. So I mean, it seems
I know on the college level they do because my wife's a professor.
I mean, what's the mechanism right now to get rid of somebody that's not performing?
Don't renew the contract.
That's the only thing. They don't renew their contract. Yeah. But if they have nobody else to hire, then what's to get rid of them? Why would they get rid of them if they have nobody else to hire? That's what I'm saying.
So you actually just agreed with what I said. So you're saying they already got somebody there to replace the teacher? They can get rid of the teacher.
Okay, so they can get rid of the teacher, but I'm gonna add on to this so that this whole capitalistic thing, which we haven't got to the vouchers yet. That's where
it's not a voucher, by the way.
Yeah, okay, it's not a voucher. We're gonna talk about savings again.
Not the voucher.
Not the voucher that we're talking about.
You're interrupted. He's getting off track.
Yeah, I'm getting off track. Let's go. All right, but
no, I'm waiting on you.
All right, but
completely lost.
Point. Okay, my point
he
is
was getting you off track.
That's what I thought he told me. I was getting you off track.
He was, but all right, so. Bad teacher. How do we get rid of bad teachers if we don't have a teacher to replace them?
Hey, I'm going to have to cut this out, but it's so funny. I've got y'all's pictures backwards, and y'all are looking opposite directions. I got y'all the same thing. It's hilarious. So I'll fix that future.
So
but,
am I looking that way?
It's
You're
great.
looking that way?
Yes, that's what it looks like.
All right, look, so that's a good time to go pee.
All right,
but it's awesome.
All right. So my thing is,
Matter of fact, I'm gonna go while he's waiting.
But let's look this way, Gary.
I'm gonna fix y'all. I'm gonna fix.
Jamie.
Yes,
Jamie.
No, y'all go back the other way. I'm gonna fix y'all. And somebody just go, they changed spots. I'm like, okay.
But essentially, they won't get rid of the bad teachers if there's nobody to replace them.
And now y'all are looking at each other.
I agree that that's hilarious. I agree that the likelihood of that happening that way is slim.
But all right, so let me ask you this:
as somebody who's married to a teacher, that's a concern I have.
Well, but so what's more important? And you could talk about death penalty, but it's not saying nobody's dying. But what's more important? Keeping 5 bad teachers to save the one that may be wronged, or allowing them to dismiss the 5 bad teachers. I personally think it's better to dismiss the 5 bad teachers.
But I think this whole learns things will bring in, even if a good teacher gets fired, they're going to get pulled into another school easily. Is what I'm thinking, because that teacher's going to have scores behind them.
Yeah, but you're talking. I mean, let's keep in mind that teachers changing schools isn't like me going to work for another duck company.
Well, right now it's not, but it will be different than in 2
years.
No.
So, like, if Charlie gets wrongfully dismissed, where does she go? She had to go work back to EPC, where she's got a 40-minute drive.
Possibly.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's
but if
that's true. If you get workforce,
if you get wrong,
yeah, but I mean, but if I get wrongfully fired and not with, I go to any other duck company in town. And
but so does Charlie. She can go to EPC. She can go to Marion. She could go to Westminster Christian. She could go to St. Michael's. She could go to
Westminster Christian.
Well, the only thing is you can go get a job after the weekend or whatever. Charlie has to wait until contracts are renewed.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Mid-year now.
They are actually
they can. But there's other schools.
Quick mid-year.
All right, we're back on track.
All right. So I've got y'all looking at each other now. So for the all right. So it did. There's a Raises Act that we're going to get into in Tuesday's episode. But the reason I bring it up here is that they repealed the actual pay schedule in this act and the Raises Act. So if only this act goes through, it appears that teachers are only guaranteed, the entry pay is still $50,000, but teachers are only guaranteed to make $2,000 more per year than they were making September 1st. So
of 2022.
Of 2022. Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome. I read it.
Thank you, Mr. Know-It-All.
You're welcome.
But we'll dive into that on Tuesday's episode. So y'all listen to Tuesday's episode. We'll get more into the pay scale.
All right. Now, I'm about to get into the fun stuff. This is
Yes.
stuff
There we
that
go.
seems to
Let's
be,
go.
Well, there is a Merit Teacher Incentive Fund program. We'll talk about that more also
A
on
married
Tuesday.
teacher?
Merit.
I
thought he said married.
I was like, I didn't know it. If do you get double up?
I'll get my wife married to a couple men. We'll get
To a coal man.
a couple men.
They give you a housing allowance.
Yeah.
All right, so on page 82 is where it starts. Arkansas Children's Education Freedom Account Program. This is the one that probably gets the most attention. You know, we've heard it called the voucher program. We actually had some heated discussions a couple weeks ago.
We almost came to fisticuffs.
I threw this light over
about
here.
Donnie threw a light at T and it wild.
It went off the wall, hit me in the head. So if my head's glowing, it's because there's a light stuck in it.
Yeah.
But
let me say this. Seriously, people, we care this much about what's going on. We actually had a really heated discussion a few weeks ago.
I totally think I could have took him.
It was primarily regarding the homeschool portion. We didn't. The thing is, we didn't know nothing. We were talking about.
We were just arguing because we were stupid.
All right. So basically, this is the gist of it. It's pretty simple. There, it's not necessarily a voucher program. It'll be referred to as such. I guess you could say you take your voucher. Mm-hmm. But the way it'll work is if a parent decides to not enroll their child in a public school or a charter school, then there will be a secondary account set up that will be funded. You have to apply for this and go get the account set up. It'll be funded at 90% of the amount of money allotted per child from the previous year will go into that account. And what it allows a parent to do, there will be no direct payments to a parent with regards to this.
Yep.
That's the buffer that we didn't know about.
That's a huge
But
difference.
it allows the parent to decide where the money goes. They can use the money for tuition at a private school. They can use the money to pay for a curriculum. They can use the money for all of these things. They can bank the money. The thing
That's
I find interesting about it is that the money can be banked for multiple years, and it'll remain in that account until you are enrolled back into public school, or you reach the age of graduation in which you're no longer eligible, the money will be rolled back into the overall account funds. You know, one aspect of this I saw earlier, for someone with a kid going to kindergarten, they theoretically could homeschool for 7-8 years, bank that money each year, and just save it. And then when their kids go into high school, they could then use that money to really pay for a more expensive private school or something of that nature.
Yep.
But it still has to be used for schooling, or they just lose it. But I mean, you could go to a premium school, right?
Yes. We're in Arkansas, so obviously we're in Arkansas. So here's a great example. You can homeschool your kid until they're in 6th grade, then you can send them to Pulaski Academy.
Yep.
Where you pay for the schooling K through 6,
so,
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you homeschool for K through 6 or whatever. But that $77,000.
But you fund it though. You pay the bill on it, right?
Yeah, but then when they go to, say you want to go to a Pulaski
but they
Academy,
basically bank that money for all those years.
You would have
in an account that's managed by.
You'd have $49,000.
And if they wanted to go to Los Angeles.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a Memphis school.
I said Briarcrest,
but I'm using it as an example because it's one of those schools.
That's actually a really cool scenario.
So a participating student means a student eligible to participate in the program for whom an account's been established. And these are a list of some of the qualifying expenses for as early as 23-24 school year. And I think, Gary, we went back and forth on this, but it's 1.5% is all that's going to be eligible the first year.
Yep.
23-24, 24-25, 3%.
3%
student body. And then after that, it's everybody.
Now, I would say this. I would like to see, you're talking about so you can bank it. I would actually like to see where you could turn that money over and put it into a trades in Arkansas or into a university in Arkansas.
But I was going to say,
that'd be an interesting take on it.
I was going to say, but I would like to see where you could bank that money and then your kid go to public school after that, and then you take that money and apply it to college.
But could you
or trade or either one, whatever you're choosing.
Just to be clear to those listening, these are strictly opinions. There's nothing in there to support that, but I happen to agree with you guys. I think it'd be a good stipulation there. But we just need to say that because I don't want somebody to go, well, they said it did.
It's a cool thought.
Yeah, it is. So qualifying expenses would be tuition, fees, cost of testing. So you'd pay for testing.
Yep.
Cost of required school uniforms.
Yep.
That's great.
The thing is, you have to buy stuff from approved suppliers too, so they can't just go. I can't buy it from Gary who got it at Crazy Hot Deals last week.
So like one thing too is like if you go to a public school or a private school, tuition $6,000 a year. That leave you $1,000 for uniforms.
Uniforms,
and you
that's great.
Uniforms aren't cheap.
There's something else on here that's very modern. Who is that?
I think it's you, man.
No, it's not me.
That's me. I can't say.
It is.
I don't think my phone does it. Yeah.
Who is it's a number. It's nobody's name.
Don't worry
about that.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
We'll let it finish.
What does it say?
They're asking for your warranty on your car.
It's probably Joe Biden.
Amazon.
What does that do to my screen when it does that? Nothing.
Okay.
No. All right. So then, where was that? They define who is an approved supplier.
Yep.
All of those things. There was some other point I was headed at.
So far.
Technology. Sorry. Let me say it before it goes away. Okay. The other thing they have listed here is access to technology. So that would mean your internet that you buy for your home or any of that. They even list
or a PC, right?
They even list as a game box on here for like, and I had trouble with that one, but it was listed as a qualified expense.
Well, there are some video games that you can buy that are academic. There are.
Yeah, but the game box itself is not.
It's not
video game,
but there are some video games because they're
and they play them competitively.
They do
because in high school.
Is there a number of game boxes I can buy? Can I use the whole allotment to buy Xboxes and sell them?
And PS5.
Whoever's managing your account will be able to take care of that because you don't get the money. It's only given out quarterly, apparently.
Yeah, it's going out quarterly, and yeah.
So the process, so here's the kicker. Okay. If you agree as a private school to take this money in person, you open yourself up to input from the Arkansas Department of Education.
Public regulation.
Yep.
They have to prove that they adhere to that. Some of these other things, and then they will be audited to ensure that they're using the money as defined by the program.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, there is a lot of private schools that will not be involved in this.
Well, there won't be, but it also says to be. You have to be accredited by the the Arkansas Department of Education, but there's also another department that's private school. There's a private school department. If you're accredited by them, then you're okay too.
So, I can see our local private school not being involved.
Well,
I could see them being involved.
I think they would be highly involved. You're talking about West Coast Christian. Yeah. I mean, everybody knows what it is that listens if you're local, anyways.
Yeah, they will be involved.
A great thing for them because unless
they're
Marion's a good school, right? People have asked us, hey, send your kids to I don't primarily sports to play sports.
I don't know if people know this.
I'm not paying for school when we got a perfectly good school.
I don't know if people know
here.
this. Marion received an award for their math scores last year. Or this year. Yeah. I can't remember how they hit. That might be in the spring or the fall when they hit. But, I mean, they were the top performing math schools in the state.
Yeah, back when I was in high school, which was a long time ago, we were one of the best schools in the state.
You probably on Knowledge Bowl, weren't you?
I was not, but I was asked to be on one. But I was like, no, I
Knowledge Bowl too?
No, but seriously,
Quiz Bowl. That's what
Quiz Bowl. Yeah,
Marion's a good school. Like both of my kids excel there. They make great grades. They're above their grade average, right, by quite a bit. But if now you could pay for the opportunity to go somewhere else that maybe allowed them different kinds of opportunities.
So, for example, I could see myself moving Mac. I shouldn't use my son's name. Cut that for me. I could see myself moving my son to a private school.
Because he may be able to get more one-on-one.
He is extreme ADHD, DDD. Yeah. He has some extra ones. I could see him needing more one-on-one time than the other two kids do.
But, I mean, that option could be great.
And when you're local like this, it's fine. I mean, that's what it's for. But it's to choose.
But this is what this creates. This voucher system creates.
It's not a voucher.
Okay. I call it an education savings account.
I like that. Savings account.
So do you still
it's like a flex plan.
Do you still put you in control of the money for your child?
It's like a health savings plan.
That's what I
is what it.
It's really similar to that.
Very, very
similar to health savings plan.
What if you woke up tomorrow and you decided you want to send your kid to Rivercrest instead of Marion? Would it allow you to do that if you were willing to? You can. You can drive it.
School choice program. Okay. Now there's stipulations. I didn't realize they had
changed it.
Well, there's stipulations around demographics of the school systems. So
which pisses me off.
If you're a minority in your school, the principal doesn't necessarily have to release you.
Correct.
Yeah.
They don't release you anyway.
Huh?
They don't have to.
West Memphis will not release you to Marion. They make you sit out of you. You can still go
currently,
but
with this new health savings account,
something we didn't touch on.
Education savings account.
I think we need to talk about is, if I read this right, the student receives 90%. The other 10% goes to the school that you live in. Is that not?
I didn't get that. Did it say that?
I think it did say that. So I agree with that.
So for everybody concerned about their school in their area losing money, you still get 10%, which is not 100%.
It's not.
But you get 10% money for a kid that's not there.
Well, let's be honest. Most people are probably going to stay where they are.
Most people will.
Most folks will, but you're also going to have those people that are like, hey, I need this kid to go here, and now I got the money to take them there, and they're going to go there. So you're going to have education.
And look, it's not simply going to be take your kid to a different school.
It's not simply going to be that.
But
no, it's
the
not.
parents that care are going to take advantage of this, and I think it's a good thing. I think it gives you options.
It does.
If counselors or whoever they have will really expand the knowledge, really tell the people what's out there and what they're capable of getting into, there are parents who will take advantage of this. And, you mentioned your son, Jamie, and the improvements you would see by taking him to a private school.
Yeah, the school he is in is excellent. He's one of the top schools in the country.
He's almost done with that school.
In the area.
He's almost done with that school.
No, he's not.
Fisk, he's got another year, right? 2 years. Still, he's going to be done.
Max in second grade.
He's still going to be done though in several years.
Yes.
Yeah. And so at some point he runs out of opportunity to go to this school, and I think it'd be a great thing.
I think so too.
Well, I also see it. You guys keep talking about these kids going there. I also see this as a benefit for teachers. I really do, because right now the way it's set up, each teacher, oh, geez, what's that?
It's all them kids that need to go to school.
They need to go to school.
That's my ADD son.
So the way it's set up now, each teacher is required to have a minimum of $50,000 a year, but that's the minimum. So if you now have this school that's getting all these kids because you have a great math program, okay? You got a great math program. You think the math program teachers within that school are getting paid $50,000 a year?
Some are. I mean, it depends on what you're at.
Maybe. I also guarantee someone would probably get paid $60,000 a year, $7,000 a year.
Well, we'll get in that next episode.
Yeah, we will get into that.
It was part of this bill, though.
But we're going to talk about teacher pay in a little bit.
I do think it could help private schools greatly. I do think
I think it'll help public schools.
They'll get a pretty good bump.
Well, but hold on. So here's this is what a private school shall no longer be eligible if the private school has not received accreditation within 4 years of becoming eligible.
Yep, their accreditation.
The state board determines based on information provided by the accrediting association that the private school is ineligible or unable to continue. It becomes impossible for the school to obtain accreditation. The private school that becomes ineligible under this section shall regain eligibility when they do get certified.
This has nothing to do with education. I wonder if this right here is a pathway.
This next list, I want to make sure not forget to.
Okay, I wonder if this right here is a pathway for Westminster Christian schools like them to become a AAA school in Arkansas.
It's possible
for sports.
For sports, it may be.
Yeah, but
because once you combine,
I think it could be
because once you're on the same educational
this could make
program,
them ineligible too. And this is a really good clause. This clause right here is really good because it keeps from a school simply being propped up by this program. If they will not be eligible unless they can demonstrate fiscal soundness by having been in operation for at least one school year.
Yeah.
Or provide certified public account confirming that the school is insured and it has sufficient capital.
Yeah, so you can't run out and start a school.
Yeah,
no, you can't.
We can do a patio school.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Westminster Christian can do that.
If this was put up by Democrats, though, that would not be in there. There'd be 14 new private schools.
Yeah, you just throw up a private school. You get all these parents to bring their kids. You take the money.
I'm not saying any names, but both of y'all probably should know this. There was a woman when we grew up that opened her own school. They had like 8 kids.
Yeah.
I didn't know about this.
Yeah, you did. I'll tell you when we get all there.
Okay, you have to remind me.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I mean, basically, the school, any private school opens their doors to the Arkansas Department of Education to audit them.
Just banking money.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think we've beat this one.
I think so. I think we did all right.
That was very good, Terry.
They are going to have to be tested. They're going to have to prove that they can. I mean, we've been going almost an hour. There's probably 15 minutes I need to edit out. But for part one, I think it's pretty good. Look, teachers, there's going to be teachers or parents. We're going to have some links on our website. The actual bill is there. You can go read it. Read it from front to back. I was a little disappointed. I looked at the news article. I don't think they did it justice.
Why don't we also attach the condensed version?
We'll put it on there.
Tell them that. Here, tell them that website.
Life. I always forget the website. Lifefromthepatio.com.
How do you forget that?
Some outtakes for all of our episodes are there. This is episode 67, by the way. Ooh. Go like us. We're full of information. We're
also full of shit.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah, Jamie likes to call us social warriors. But hey, any parting words for tonight, Fortenberry?
Listen, change is scary, and a lot of time, I'm looking at this from the side of the teachers as well as the side of a parent. But Arkansas is ranked, I think, 47th in the nation in education.
48th, I think.
Damn, excuse me, 48th.
48th for 6.
So thank God for Mississippi, we ain't dead last.
That's right.
But
Alabama, I think, too.
Is Alabama? Okay. Yeah. So look, there's things that you might not like in this bill, but it is an opportunity. If we stay stagnant, we cannot grow. I'll just leave it at that.
Scoff. Parting words.
Let's go out there and compete to be the best that we can be in the Army.
DW.
Oh, that was weird, but yeah, I'm with Jamie. There's some good stuff. There's some not great, but overall, I think it's pretty good. I mean, it gives you options, which is always great to have. So I'm okay with it so far. Yeah.
What?
Whoa, conspiracy.
Well, that's conspiracy. Look,
I didn't know.
Go like us. Look, I'm quite excited about this bill. I'm quite an agent of change. I think if we don't change, we become stagnant. Stagnant is what we are. We have to give our kids the ability to have a brighter future than we had. I think I'm a product of the public school system, and you know what? You get the best out of it that you can. Let's go out there and support our people. Hey, look, Huckabee did what she said she was going to do.
Like her or not.
Rock the boat, baby. Let's go.
'Cause somebody done took from an outlaw. Take my picture down from the courthouse wall. I'm living in the clouds and I ain't gonna fall. Somebody done save this outlaw.